So we heard earlier in the season you're a little bit banged up. What was that injury you were dealing with?
I strained my oblique. I did. It kind of was a weird. I'm not even sure how it even happened, really. Just slowly but surely came along, got worse and worse, and then had to sit, no swings for like 2 weeks, and then slowly build up. But yeah, that was what happened.
You're swinging it pretty well right now. What's been clicking at the plate? You seen a beach ball up there, or?
It's kind of gotten that way. Yeah, I took a couple, got back-to-back starts, and then kind of just started rolling with that. Just keeping it simple, same approach the whole time. It's just now just producing a little bit now. So yeah.
How tough was it sitting out that month and watching the guys crash?
I mean, first there was a couple days where it was like, okay, yeah, I really wish I'd be playing, but at the same time we're winning, so it's still fun. It wasn't like totally like, oh, not watching, not playing, not winning, but we were out there. I was still down there with the guys, which helps. If I was sitting back here, I did that freshman year, which is even harder, sitting back here and all your friends leave after being with them for all fall, and then they just leave like that. But so still getting to be around them. Same time, I was in the dugout the whole time, so that was still fun, but still had to do my time again, kind of sit and watch, and kind of not swinging was tough too, just because it's like I want to be, that's what I do, swing, catch, and then I just had to sit there and watch, stretch a little bit, jog, and then that was it.
So you said you took 2 full weeks off from everything?
Yeah, so it was the first 2 games I played in Arizona. I was kind of like, felt it the first day when we got to Arizona. I was like, oh, that's not right. And then it slowly got worse and worse, and those first 2 games hurt swinging. And so if I wouldn't have pushed through that, I probably wouldn't have had to sit that long, and then it just was worse. And then tried to do it, some practices, and then it just still was getting worse. So then it was 2 weeks, no swing, and then I think it was like 5-6 days of building up swinging before they let me get in the game. And then I think I got 6 innings that first game, and then been good since.
How would you evaluate where you're at now? Are you back to mid-season form, or?
Yeah, definitely full go right now. Like, it felt a little bit was out of sync afterwards. Like those couple games still playing, some things didn't feel right. Like BP didn't feel like I could hit the ball kind of as far as I could. So just kind of out of whack after not swinging for those couple weeks, and then now feeling good and ready to roll.
What was your biggest focus at Driveline? What was your kind of biggest takeaway from that?
Just kind of switching up my bat path a little bit. Like I was hitting a lot of ground balls. Like that's what I did last year. Hit the ball hard, but it was just in the ground, a lot of outs, and so those don't really produce hits. And so I went up there, kind of found a couple switches to feel a little bit different barrel path, and just kind of get the ball in the air more, and just kind of have more of a plan too, what I need to do like before games, and just having a process more so too.
And was that like 2 weeks or a month, or how long was that?
So I went up that first, in the summer I went up for like, I think it was about 4 weeks, and then I went and played and DH'd in Bend, and played a couple weeks in there, and then I went back for a couple more weeks. So I think it was like 4 weeks, and then 2 to 3 weeks, and then got right back up here, and then I made it up there for like 9 days too in the winter. So.
And did you immediately like embrace the changes? Like, did you feel the positivity, or did it kind of take a while to navigate?
That's why I went to Bend. I kind of went out and was like, I should kind of see it, try it out a little bit, play with a couple things, and then go see some real pitches and kind of play with it there in summer ball and not worry about having to produce, because it needed to kind of come up in the fall and get ready for the season. And so kind of wanted to go do that, and then I went back and got like, these didn't really feel right out there, and the timing and all this and that. And so that's why I went to Bend, and that really helped a little bit. Ended up doing pretty well there too, but found out what I really needed to change, and then went back, changed it, and then came back in the fall, and then we rolled from there.
Yeah, it sounds like you were crushing it in the fall. You kind of immediately noticed the difference.
Yeah, so it was really good fall. I had fun, kept it simple, knew what I needed to do with like the approach and like the feels I needed each day to kind of do what I needed to do to hit, and then kind of it showed. So
I feel like you're hitting a lot up the middle or the other way. Is that a focus, or is that just a byproduct of where they're pitching you?
Usually that's kind of where I kind of like sit, and that's where I'm like thinking I'm going to hit it, and usually it doesn't end up actually going there, but right now it seems to be the case. So like that's kind of like the thought, to keep it that way, and kind of right center kind of more so, because if I think pull side homer, then I'm going to be usually get out front and crashing a little too much side bend, and then just miss pitches I shouldn't. So keep the thought out there, just keep it simple with that, and then just kind of let the ball do what it's going to do.
Yeah, we saw it last night. It's not often to see a catcher hit a triple like you did. Unhook the trailer? That been speed you've always had, or what's that like?
Apparently it's still in there. I used to be a little bit quicker back in like high school, and then once I've kind of focused on gaining weight and getting bigger and stronger, and kind of it's a little harder to run when you're 220 rather than when you're 165, 170. So it's still in there, I think, a little bit, and I think it definitely shows a little more on the bases. Like if I were to run a 60-yard sprint, it wouldn't be the best, but once I get moving on the bases, I feel like I'm not too slow like catchers sometimes are.
What's your favorite part of a game, and why is it watching the catching race with the fan or Mario or whoever during a game?
Sometimes, right now, honestly, for me, the most fun is just going out there with some of the freshman pitchers, like especially like Matty Mo right now. For some reason, it's just exciting to see him come out,
Yeah.
and he's just always excited. He's not one of the guys who needs to be super serious when he gets out there. If he gets serious, he's gonna get a little bit pressed a little bit. So kind of go out there, get him smiling a little bit. So I really enjoy seeing some of those freshmen, like Eric too. Same thing. It's just going out there and having fun with them, going greeting them. Like, all right, let's go have some fun out here. Let's go keep it chill for you guys and let's just go win, dominate.
What's the bond between you and Tana, and just you guys have each had your little runs of opportunities here, obviously with your injury and whatnot. But what's the relationship between you two right now?
Just kind of supporting each other, like kind of how it's been since freshman year together. It's like I was sitting watching him and Gavin all freshman year, and then last year was back and forth, and so it's just kind of being there, kind of practice with each other, getting each other better as we can do, and just push each other and not letting each other let up. I think so. Definitely good. Definitely keeps us going, and doesn't allow us to kind of sit back and get too like complacent and get comfortable where we're at. So
How do you balance that when you guys both want to play? You're both competitors and you're both friends. I don't know if it's awkward or just normal or what.
Yeah, it can be, but it's definitely just kind of relying on the trusting the coaches, and with whoever they want that day, just go out and be ready, because sometimes we don't even know who's playing like an hour before the game. So every day we both show up ready to play, and then we just trust whatever the coaches want that day, and we live with whatever they say. So.
And do you guys bounce like ideas or whatever off each other about approaches to the plate, or how you're going to handle a staff or whatever?
Not as much at the plate. Definitely like with the pitchers for sure.
Yeah.
Like talking the bullpen, catching next to them, because we were in double. There's two pens in there, so we're over there catching right next to each other. And sometimes like, oh, how's so and so slider today? What is he doing different? Stuff like that. Just kind of setups too. Like, oh, how are you setting up for like with Aiden May? Like sometimes like, oh, how are you setting up for him when he's missing here, when he's missing there? Like,
Right.
What are your little adjustments? Like, what worked last week, kind of things. So stuff like that, definitely bouncing back and forth too.
Did you feel pressure on yourself when you got back and healthy? Because I think Tana had a stretch where he played like every game for 2 weeks. Did you feel like, well, I gotta produce right away so I can get back on the field more than just here and there?
I'd say sometimes for sure, like especially I remember last year, like that was kind of a thought. It's like, oh, I gotta really play well if I want to keep playing. So like I remember like last year I had that in the back of my head, and I just know that's not how you want to play, because you're gonna go out there playing pressing. That never helps you with anything. So right now it's just kind of fresh mind, not think about nothing like that. Just go out, have fun, and just trust the process with how much we've trained, how much we've prepared for the moment we're in. So not thinking forwards too much, just kind of being comfortable, enjoying the moment, and just kind of trust what we've done and just trust it and go with it.
You think about the history of catcher at this program. What comes to mind to you when you hear Oregon State catcher?
It's just a lot of responsibility back there. Like you saw Canham and then Adley do his thing. So it's just, those guys are above you, and you just got to try to be what they were and just kind of keep it simple back there and just work for your guys and go win an Addy.
Do you kind of appreciate that history, though, that tradition, and that now that you're a part of it? Like, what does that mean, I guess?
It's pretty cool. Like, all the culture here is awesome with all the players, like past guys, not even just catchers. You see other big leaguers here, and just like watching them up there and be like, wow, that's sick that all these guys were once in these exact shoes, kind of just enjoying life with the boys in the clubhouse, and then going out and playing, just having fun, trusting their process, and just winning, competing. So it's pretty cool.
Mitch doesn't squat too much anymore.
He doesn't.
Maybe
Last,
freshman
I
year
think it was
a little
freshman year a little bit. He caught in a couple scrimmages, and he'll catch some bullpens, but not as much recently. But it's pretty fun back there. And you're like, turn around the corner, like, why does Canham got his gear on? I was like, okay, I guess I want to go watch this.
Must be desperate.
But Esposito definitely does a little bit more now. I think that's because Spo wasn't here freshman year, and so like I think Canham kind of was like, oh, I guess I can let Espo do that, because he was a catcher too. So he's probably like, oh, I guess it's Espo's time to shine back there to show the guys kind of how an old timer does it. So
You still talk to Gavin? Are you in touch with him ever?
yeah, so when we're in the same area, we'll see each other. Kind of, he was in Canada for a little bit when we were up there. Kind of went out and hung out with him at the field, and then also text him here and there, slide up with some stories, check in, and then see him whenever we're close. And so,
Is he in the minors right now, or is he out?
I'm not sure where he's at. I haven't really. It's been a couple.
Yeah,
it's been a month or two since I've talked to him, but definitely should reach out to him for sure.
Yeah.
I know there's still a lot of regular season ball left, but when you look back at the team that went to Surprise, what's the biggest difference between this team and there in terms of growth?
Which team you mean?
The team you guys went first weekend of the year in Surprise.
Okay, yeah.
How have you guys grown from that weekend?
Just kind of got in a groove. Like we knew we were good and had the talent to do it, and I feel like we just kind of had, especially with like our depth too. Like you've seen now, like back in Surprise, we didn't really have a bunch of those guys. Some of them got in some of those games, but they didn't know how much they were really going to get out there, and we just kind of, that has really shown with the growth. Like we get guys get banged up and stuff. Like we have guys go right in there and kind of fulfill their job and keep winning, keep competing. So it just shows that like we have trust in the guys behind us too. If we need to sit, if the guys who are in need to take a break and get banged up, like we got guys that go and fill their spot and allow them to get healthy without having to press it and push it and risk a further injury. So that's like some of the biggest growth I think we've seen, is that just trusting that we know we got a lot of guys behind us too. We don't just have a strong 9.
You were talking about, I don't know if you were talking about your weight increase. You were talking about running and that. Have you added bulk since you've been here or lately, or is that just you were talking about a infield speedster compared to a catcher?
Yeah, so back like in high school, like early high school, I was lighter, so I was saying like that was like the 160 to like 220, which is a big jump. Like on my driver's license, it says like 160. So
yeah, right.
So that was back in my
Same.
speedy times. Yeah. So, but once I got here, I think I was like 185, and I put on 15 pretty quick. It was just, it was mostly like straight muscle too, just lifting, eating especially right. Like I did it my senior year in high school. I ate pretty well, and then lifted, but I didn't have like a super strict like a program like Mike's that was just really good. It was kind of like, oh, I'm sticking to process every day, doing the same lift with like a plan, but it wasn't great what I was doing in high school. But then now once I got freshman year, I put on some weight pretty quick, and then kind of throughout the years kind of just playing with what I needed. Like had a surgery and I was like, okay, I don't need to be in game weight right now, so I'll gain some weight and see what my body does, eating right, lifting heavy, and then now I found that like about 220 is good if I'm keeping it moving around a lot. So I'm probably about 220 right now, which is perfect for me. Feeling quick, feeling fast, feeling healthy. So
Thanks, Wilson.
Yep.